Happy New Year to you all. Here's wishing you all the very best for 2023. In this video, I'll look back briefly, but more so forward to what you might expect here over the coming year. Well, if I can say anything about 2022, it seemed to go by very quickly, and looking at my channel, my output was actually considerably less than in 2021. That was probably due to the fact that in 2021, the pandemic gave us a lot more time to use on other things, and I invested it in this channel. Maybe the fact that I was determined to reach YouTube requirements for monetization, that was motivational for sure. But there were also periods this year I just needed breathing space, mental health breaks, call them what you will, because, and my YouTube colleagues I think understand this, the pressure to create here can be taxing. While we all have our lives outside of this space, families to attend, business obligations, and we all need leisure time if we're going to recharge the batteries that power all of our activities. I know some of us already have a tendency towards workaholism. You know who you are. And I won't get into the psychology of that issue in this video. But learning to balance work and the rest of our life is a big deal for many people, especially, I'd say, self-employed creators, those of us who have our identity so tied in with the products of our labors. And so often today, the responses we get from our audience. I'm no stranger to that phenomenon because, as regular visitors will know, my father was an entertainer. Other than recorded radio and TV appearances, he performed live on stage. And I can tell you, I was always in awe of his, what should we call it? Courage, I think, is not overstating what it takes to walk out onto a stage in a strange city and present yourself and your work. Especially when there's a few asshats in the audience who figure they can bring you down with infantile name-calling. Dad was all ready to put these guys in their place. Usually to the relief of the rest of the audience, I might add. But it's an added stress, one that rears its head here too often. But I've strayed from my script. Please don't thumb me down. The reason we come back, and I've discussed this with my closest friends and fellow channel makers, is our love for the medium, still photography and moving pictures. And I want to do a whole lot more of that in 2023. However much of it makes it to this platform in terms of content. I've asked in a community poll what you'd like to see, and I'll take the results into consideration, but I'll tell you what I want to do. I really want to make more cinematic content. I hesitate to use that term. It's overused and subject to a whole variety of interpretations. So we'll say that I mean video and photo content that ultimately takes more time to produce, built around stories, that goes beyond the usual quick edit that topical content demands. And that presents a challenge because it takes so much more time and effort, and it often doesn't return the dividends, shall we say, that quick and dirty gear porn videos do. This is something that we YouTubers discuss amongst ourselves. It's a dilemma. We know that production values aren't always valued. I mean, some of the most popular channels out there have nothing approaching quality imaging or audio, so why fret about it? Well, speaking for myself, coming from a mostly commercial photography background, I mean, I've been fired for failing IQ 101. Okay, you know what I mean. So we experiment. If the content is solid, can we get away with less than perfect picture quality? Not so perfect audio? Because all these are moving targets, shall we say, that are very hard to hit within the parameters of building a YouTube channel when you're pretty much a one-man band, as I am. Depending, of course, on what kind of channel you want to build. So, for instance, there's a lot less emphasis on the technical stuff I've established, or at least tried to establish here, on say a shorts-oriented channel or a gaming channel. And I'll comment on some of that in the new year. You may have caught one or two of my shorts for what they're worth. I can tell you that I'll continue to focus on long-form content in 2023, but also on the editing side of things to make my videos as engaging as possible. Without, I guess, suppressing my personality, which tends to follow a random thought where it leads. Case in point. But as one of my subscribers noted, motivation is key, so mixing it up keeps things interesting for me, and I hope for you too. Let me know in the comments what you're interested in. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm excited about where the photography industry itself is headed, and I will, within reason, continue to follow the twists and turns. And I should state the obvious, at least to those who follow my channel, that my focus, I use that word focus a lot, will mostly remain on Nikon gear, because that's mostly what I use, as I have for more than 4 decades, when it comes to 35mm anyway. I can't tell you definitively what that might mean in terms of gear reviews, a topic that I know many of my subscribers enjoy, because, well, I'm not able to run out and buy every lens or camera that Nikon releases. I can only rationalize purchases that further my work. Of course, I'd be more than happy to review any gear that Nikon might loan for that purpose. Hello, Nikon Canada? At the risk of sounding mercenary, actually, what business owner is ashamed of working for money? Any established channel begins to incur costs, and this channel doesn't yet break even. So, one of the successes of 2022 for me has been attracting some affiliate relationships and some manufacturers who like my work enough to send me gear to review. And I'm very proud to have achieved such recognition and inspired that trust. I hope in turn that translates into value for my viewers. Any purchases made via the affiliate links in video descriptions lead to a small dividend for me without any extra cost to the buyer. YouTube has also granted me additional benefits as a member of the partner program, including that little super thanks button below videos, through which viewers can send a monetary expression of the value they find in my content. Also, in my descriptions, my PayPal donation link. Okay, that's it for the fundraising portion of this video. If you haven't joined the party, please consider subscribing. In 2023, I'll continue with content that's been popular. Check out the playlists on my channel to see what's hot, and I guess what's not. But I encourage you to explore for what I think are some hidden gems that the algorithm doesn't necessarily promote. But yes, I'll continue with gear reviews. Certainly, they've proven successful, depending on what's supplied to me and what I can buy. But only the kind of gear that I actually use in my day-to-day work. So no pet accessories or air fryers. And as I've learned from responses to date, I won't be getting too, I guess, micro-technical when it comes to gear. That appears to inspire yawns, and there's that word again, it's not my focus. As I said, there'll be more long-form videos that test and hopefully improve my skills generally. I have, I think, some interesting content in the pipeline that endeavors to showcase that, which hopefully you'll find helpful. And more than my personal skills, show some more of what the Nikon Z system can deliver. There's lots more when it comes to the Z9, for instance, that will challenge my ability to adapt and learn to apply the potential of that fantastic camera and the expanding lineup of Z-mount lenses, which we're hoping in the new year will include new additions like the 85mm 1.2, 35mm also 1.2, 135mm 1.8, 200 to 600 zoom. These are lenses that exist at least on the Nikon lens roadmap. Not that I can promise to have all those in hand on this channel. Will we see the camera that has, to this point, been manufactured entirely within the desires and fantasies of the Nikon community, the Z8? Or will we see version 3s of the Z6 and Z7? I have no privileged insight into these questions, I'm afraid. But I do think we'll have answers to at least some of them in 2023. Sooner rather than later. That's just my personal feeling. It seems as though the supply chain problems that dogged the whole industry, and not just the camera industry either, I think those are easing. The Z9 is more widely available. I got my Z400 f4 VRS within weeks of its announcement. Supply seems just generally better, except maybe for the exotic primes. So that's a few of my plans, ideas, dreams, and intentions drawn from the past and projected into the next year. No doubt there will be unplanned changes. Hopefully there'll be fruitful detours, pleasant surprises. I hope that your trails are happy too. Take care of yourself along the way. Cheers, and we'll see you later.